Extra, extra, read all about it as we will be spoiling all contents from this week's episode in this podcast recap. View at your own discretion.
You've been warned.
Welcome back to the house, my friends. We're glad to have you back. If you are joining us for a second time today, we appreciate you. We are back to reveal our thoughts on the newest entry into the MCU. I believe it's the 35th film in this long saga.
I've seen at least 35
I've
movies.
seen at least 35 movies. Captain America, Brave New World. I am your podcast host, Noah Marano. Back again with my co-host and producer. Steve Rogers himself is here to bring about the Brave New World that we were expecting.
You know, I had a dad once.
What a line opener, man.
And he told me, with great power comes great respect.
That's a good
Welcome
callback.
to the episode.
That's a good callback. That's what we call Easter egg in the business.
Yeah.
My friends. Man, so we're back because, listen, friends, we saw Captain America, Brave New World in theaters on Thursday night. This episode is most likely coming to you on a Saturday or Sunday. We'll see. But we saw this a couple days ago, so we have had some time to stew in it. But we are going to give you our initial reactions off seeing the film, as well as maybe some more discourse we've heard around the film and really just our thoughts about it. So going into this film, I think we were both on the side of like, we're excited for it for sure. We've been excited about this film for months. We've really been cautiously hopeful for the film. And I think going into it too, you said, I think the most important thing you said that I want to get into first off is like, you were like, I don't care if it's bad or good. I just want to have fun. And my initial comment to you was, I don't see this as a movie that is going to be fun, just based off my experience with the Captain America films in general. Because I feel like Civil War may be a different story because that is a more fun, there's more fun parts to that movie. But I anticipated this movie being a little bit more along the lines of Winter Soldier. And we'll get into more thoughts about that. But I just thought it was going to have a little bit more of that serious tone to it. So I wasn't really sure how much fun I was going to have in this movie. But yeah, let's get into that first. Because going into it, we had at least a little bit of hope and optimism to get to the movie theater. So, but we saw it, and yeah, it was a movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know how I truly feel about this film yet. There's a lot of negative, and there's a lot of just like, okay, for me. There wasn't a lot of pizzazz. There wasn't a lot of strong, passionate, wow, I really loved that. Wow, I'm having lots of fun. Wow, that joke really landed, like we've seen in past Marvel films. But yeah, so I'm probably going to be a little bit more of the Debbie Downer on this podcast than you might be. But what were your initial reactions, credits roll, even going into the post-credit scene?
Yeah, I think an initial reaction was just like, okay, this was what it was. Like it was just it was just a movie. I think being a few days removed from it, I actually think, and I'm not saying this is the most fun movie ever, but it was a little fun.
Okay.
Like it wasn't like, I wasn't like wishing there was needles in my eyes like the whole time. Like there are some, like, I enjoyed the action sequences.
Yeah.
I thought the battle, or I guess you can call it battle at Tiamat was fun. I really liked that. Like,
honestly, I think that was the best part of the movie for me. It was my favorite part.
I think Red Hulk that fight was my favorite part. But like that was fun. Like, the Red Hulk stuff. So like there were like fun parts in the movie. Obviously those, most of the fun was in the action, and there wasn't a lot of it.
No.
Unfortunately, I think that is a really big negative. I could break down everybody's frustration in the movie in a couple sentences, and I can explain why everybody's so upset. And, I'm probably in that boat as well. But I do want to just want to say that like I am kind of getting tired of people and their like bashing of these movies. It's getting a little old.
Yeah.
And I understand. I'm also not here like defending the movie
Mhm.
like it's a great movie, but it's like, can we have a little fun or
Yeah.
like no fun?
Yeah.
Does it have to be like a great movie or a bad movie?
Yeah.
Like, can there be an in between? It
Mhm.
doesn't feel like it with these people.
Yeah.
And this is why, like, the dawn of social media is great and everything. But I think I heard this a long time ago when social media like first got hot. I heard like social media is a bad thing because not everybody deserves a voice.
Yeah. 1,000%.
And listen, by all means, we live in a land where
We live in podcast
everybody-
culture right now where everybody
Well,
wants a
we
voice.
live in a country where like everybody has a voice and
Yeah.
like everybody has a vote and all this stuff. Cool, awesome. But like, not everybody deserves to have a voice that is to be heard to everybody. Like, I just don't. I firmly believe that.
Mhm.
Do I think I deserve to have a voice that everybody should? Probably not. But
Would I like it if people listen to us? Sure.
Yeah. but it's just like it feels like this movie has to be either great or it's bad, and there's no in between.
Yeah.
Like, I've been listening through like not one, not two, not three, but 4 different like media platforms that are like talked about the movie,
Mhm.
and like they're like people are saying like there's not a single
Yeah,
thing in this
there's-
movie that I liked.
Yeah, there's
It's like-
no redemption in any of it.
Where it's like, and that's everybody. It's like there's not one particular word or scene that is in this movie that is good, and it's like, guys, like, why are we exaggerating?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like it's getting a little bit to be too much.
Yeah.
Like, again, don't take this as me defending the movie. I don't think the movie was great, but I did like some things about the movie.
Yeah.
I thought there were some fun things about the movie. And I want to put it like this. I'll end my little spiel on this. And this is how I'm going to move forward in processing any Marvel product.
Mhm.
Whether when I word it like this, I'm curious your thoughts. Growing up, I used to watch a lot of TV shows,
Mhm.
and a lot of these TV shows used to be 20, 25, some would be 30, 40, some were even 50 episode seasons.
Mhm.
I'm going to view, because like Marvel is so big picture, that like I think we're the fan base and the studio are on 2 different pages.
Yeah.
Where like the studio is looking big picture and we're looking little picture at every single movie, and we're just
Mhm.
saying this movie sucks. This movie sucks. This movie, oh, this one's okay. This movie
Yeah.
sucks. It's like, but Marvel's got this big scope where it's like this multiverse saga is a season of television,
Mhm.
and every movie is an episode.
Sure.
Yes, not every episode. When you get these long seasons, not every episode is a banger.
Mhm.
There are fillers. This movie is a filler episode,
Gotcha.
right? It's like if you look at the Infinity War saga,
Mhm.
that is a season of television. Not every movie was a banger.
Yeah.
Now, did they hit on like 90%? Yes. And listen, sometimes it's hard to beat the original season.
Mhm.
For season 1 was just magical. Okay.
Yeah.
Season 2, we've been on a struggle bus, and how many shows have you seen like growing up where it's like they have multiple seasons? It's like season 1 freaking phenomenal. It's okay, then we take a little bit of a dip. It's not as good as season 2, and then maybe they recover season 3, maybe they don't. But it's like I'm viewing this saga and Marvel, every saga that we enter. Obviously, we're gonna like wrap up multiverse, and we're gonna go to mutant as a season of television, and every movie be an episode. And I'm not going to expect every movie to be a banger, but there are things that I can find that I like
Yeah.
in every movie. And I'm just sick and tired of all the Debbie Downers and the negative stuff. It's just like, what's the point?
Let's talk about a few things you said there, because I agree with some of what you're saying when it comes to like, I too am sick of the people who are just trashing Marvel every single project. I don't think it's warranted. I think if you actually go back and break down, I saw a funny video about it to say like your point to the season. They were like casual Marvel fans over the past since Endgame, and it was like, this project really good, this project sucks. This project really good, this project sucks. Like, we're so bipolar as Marvel fan base, and I do think we did get spoiled with the initial run. And I think
they just hit gold.
Yeah, my only pushback to what you're saying is like, we've seen them do it, and I understand it's hard to continue like this sustained success. I do think a lot of their failings in the past phase 5 is due to their own mistakes that they've kind of wandered down. And I do think that this movie, unfortunately, like, it fell victim to a couple things. One of the bigger ones being, we all know Marvel's trying to wrap up this multiverse shit quick. We know they're trying to do it. It's been announced, like, they're trying to get past this so they can get back to the structure that they know worked. And I think where that seriously hurt this movie is I don't think they believed in this movie. I think they got whatever they got when they finished it 8 or 9 months ago, and they said, oh, and they tried to do all this stuff on the back half and shove it into the movie to kind of do what you're saying, like make it that filler that just get us to the next thing. And I think it severely hindered the movie and made it not very enjoyable. Where I do disagree with you is that I genuinely didn't really find a lot of things in this movie I loved. Like I told you guys.
Well, I didn't find anything I loved either.
Okay, well, liked, then I'll say, if we're going like tiers of that. But we saw this movie with a friend of yours, and, you know, we all walked down, we were talking about it. I remember saying, like, because I did genuinely feel like this halfway into the movie, I was like, if I wanted to fall asleep right now, like I could, and I feel like I'd be okay with it. And I have never experienced that in a Marvel movie before. I just never have. And so I do think, while yes, I completely agree with you, there's way too much pessimism and there's way too much not even giving a chance, because we see shows like Spider-Man that can succeed if you just give it a chance. We see shows like Agatha that can succeed if you give it a chance. We've even gotten some good Phase 5 movies. Like, I know it's hard for people to... I know people are trying to go back and retcon Spider-Man. Spider-Man was phenomenal. Don't do that. Shang-Chi, I know some people had issues with it. Still a great movie. So let's just relax a little bit. I do agree with you on that part of it. And I do agree with you, like, they are seeing big picture, and they are, like, they know what's coming, and they're focusing more on that than they were this film, which meant we did get that. But the only disagreements I guess I have is just that I am on their side about this specific movie. When I first saw it, I was like, this is just a movie. Like, I don't really feel anything towards this. I don't feel like it was bad, but I don't feel it was good. And then as I've kind of digested it over 2 days, and as I've had more information kind of pulled in and more point of views kind of pulled from, I hear point of views of other people who are really bashing the movie, and I think back to the criticisms of it while I was watching it and the parts of the film that, you know, I saw, and I'm like, yeah, that kind of checks out. Like, their criticism is warranted there. At the same time, I wasn't feeling that during the movie, and that's just because I don't have that critical of an eye when I'm watching a movie like this. Like, I do have critical eye, but not that bad. I'd say the biggest faults of this movie that I came through is, like, A, I just don't think the plot was interesting. B, I think there were parts that didn't look great. It looked like it was shot on the volume, and I'm just really sick of that format. I want to get back to actually shooting, like, in real locations. And C, there were, like, a lot of moments where you could tell this movie was just cut together, like, with a lot of scenes and a lot of dialogue that they kind of just interjected in after the fact. And then not only that, but I heard literally after that, all of Giancarlo Esposito's scenes were basically added after the fact. Like, he was not really in this movie, and they were kind of pointing out how you can tell, like, I don't even know if he's in the same room as Anthony Mackie on some of these scenes. And kind of looking back at it, I'm going to have to watch it again to really see that. But looking back on it, I can kind of be like, yeah, I get that. It did look like that. But my initial reaction was just like, this is not a movie I'm ever going to watch again.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not.
I agree. The only thing I disagree with what you said was the plot. I think the plot actually had a lot of potential.
Okay.
It just didn't execute.
Gotcha.
So I agree in the fact that, like, the plot didn't hit.
You think it was more execution rather than planning?
Than the thought of what the idea was.
Yeah.
The idea could have been really good.
I just feel like it was too much of everything I've already seen before. Like, it just reminded me of things I've already seen in Marvel, and it just didn't seem like they were trying very much.
Yeah, I mean, but, like, what? That's what Cap is. Cap is a political figure.
Yeah.
And so, like, you have to be if he's doing a standalone movie, there's going to be politics around him because he is Captain of America.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about more like the elements of the plot. I felt like we're just Winter Soldier and Civil War, but dialed way back and worse.
But those are other Captain America movies. And
I agree, but
the
I want a new plot that's going to be interesting to watch. This one was like, This one was like if Winter Soldier was just a lot worse, but also we're doing the Civil War thing where there's this shadowy villain in the background who's trying to tear apart people or trying to ruin somebody's like legacy / image.
That's what I'm saying. If execution was better, though, you wouldn't feel that way.
I don't know. I don't know if I can agree with that. I feel like I would still pick that out because one of my biggest critiques I always catch in films is cliche things and things I've already seen before. That's like the biggest thing that always sticks out to me. And it typically takes a lot to overcome that for me. And when there's not really a lot much else going on that I feel like is great in the movie, that stuck out like a sore thumb to me, where there were just several points in it where they played the hits where it was like, all right, so this like Russian Black Widow chick is basically like our Black Widow from Winter Soldier. She's playing like that element to the story. And then, we have the Falcon character, the new Falcon character, which is basically what Sam was playing in the Winter Soldier movie and in the Civil War. And it's just like, I don't know. There just wasn't it didn't feel like anybody was actually trying who was writing this film. And then for there to be other issues with the film, like just people have issues with a lot of the performances going on in the film. I don't agree with that totally. I don't think Anthony Mackie was super strong. There were elements to watching this where I felt very similar to Wakanda Forever, where it was like, I feel like there's just kind of there's a gravity mass in the middle that's just missing. And I think, unfortunately, we're going to get that no matter what because Steve is gone. And because that was just so iconic of a portrayal. But I really didn't. I had hope for Anthony Mackie like holding up this character. I really did. I thought we were getting a new Captain America, and that's what it was going to be. And I just felt like he kind of let it. I don't want to say he let it down. I just feel like he just wasn't the same punch that we got from Steve. And that's genuinely like I remember feeling like it felt a lot like watching Wakanda Forever. Whereas I'm missing my guy. I'm missing the dude.
Yeah.
Like I need the dude.
Quick thing about Giancarlo's character. So all his scenes were filmed after the movie was done.
That's crazy, bro.
But something I don't know if you know this, but and this is where I'm very curious on what happened. Giancarlo's character, I think, was in the movie already.
Yeah.
But Seth Rollins was him.
Really?
Do you know who Seth Rollins is?
No, I don't.
He's a WWE wrestler.
Okay.
And he was Giancarlo's character in the movie, and he filmed a bunch of stuff.
Really?
And then for some reason, they kicked him out of the movie. They cut all his scenes. They casted Giancarlo and then refilmed everything.
No, I didn't hear about this at all.
So it's like I don't know. Seth Rollins had come out and talked about it a little bit. I'm curious if now that the movie's out, if his NDA.
Yeah. He
is
probably has a pretty strict NDA on that.
Yeah, he did an interview with CVV is Chris Van Vliet, I think his name is. A big WWE podcast, but they were talking about it, and he said my NDA, I can't talk about anything, but he kind of mentioned that he did film a bunch of stuff and that it was all nixed. And
yeah.
I mean, nobody knows why. I don't know what's going on with that. So that just sucks.
Yeah.
I think that played a big factor in the movie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm scared now because we're 0 for 2 on replacing
Steve.
the OG character
Yeah.
with their next person because the original person
Yeah.
has moved on, and one was Black Panther.
Yeah.
We lost Chadwick, we replaced him, and the person who replaced him as Black Panther just could not command the movie like he could.
Yeah.
And now with Cap, I agree, Sam just couldn't command the movie. He just didn't have that energy. And it's I think either Anthony Mackie has a lot to learn to be the lead, or he's just not cut to be the lead.
Yeah,
and
that sucks because I do really like Anthony Mackie. I've heard a lot of people come out over the past couple days that have been they've never really been a big fan of his acting or him as a lead character, and he's not your Glenn Powell. He can't come out of nowhere and just be in all these action films and be your Tom Cruise level guy.
Yeah, he's I don't know. He was a great Falcon, a perfect Falcon.
Yeah.
And it's I just think the biggest way I can explain this is Marvel had Michael Jordan. And obviously, like when it was Michael Jordan's time to retire, like they thought they had LeBron,
Yeah.
but they really got Baron Davis.
Tough. That's
Um,
tough. Anthony Mackie's Baron Davis level.
So it's like,
Yikes.
or I'll give him Gilbert Arenas.
Okay, yeah, a little bit more punch.
But it's just like it's not the same.
No, it's not.
I think the biggest thing, and this is not new information. This is not something that what I'm about to say is not going to enlighten you, but like the marketing killed this movie.
Let's get into this because that was my next biggest thing I wanted to talk
Because
about.
like it not only killed the movie, it
Yeah.
buried it 6 feet under before it even came out.
Buried it.
And it's like I went back and watched the trailers.
Did you really? Yeah.
After
And you saw?
after I saw the movie, I went and watched the trailers. I was like, that's crazy, bro.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then I'll do it after I'll let you talk. I'm gonna pitch you
Okay.
how I would have done the movie.
Okay. Like the movie or the trailer and marketing stuff?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
A little bit of both. And you tell me if my product just has the like a chance to just to blow this out of the water.
For sure.
But what were your thoughts? Because you watched all
dude.
the trailers before the movie came out.
And honestly, this was one of the movies I didn't want to do that on. I really did just want to watch the first trailer when it first dropped. Thought that was a fine trailer. I didn't feel like it was revealing a lot. And then I just remember
two more trailers came out?
Yeah, I remember like a week, maybe it was during the Super Bowl or like the week of the Super Bowl. I just remember seeing one on TV that I was unfortunately like stuck. I had to watch it. And maybe it was actually in a movie theater. That's why I had to watch it. Because I know we saw one at one of the movies we went to. And I was just like,
yeah, I was annoying.
Holy crap, that was like a lot. I just remember having that thought while seeing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was really a lot of information. Like, I don't feel it. That's not good. And honestly, you could tell that was another element as to why they didn't believe in the film is because I feel like they did. But this was the biggest, and I know this is really why you don't watch trailers. This right here.
Yep.
And I will say, I feel like we've gone a long time where we've been hurt this bad.
That's true.
Because I can't remember the last time, like, I understand people are like, trailers reveal everything, reveal too much. For the most part, they don't. A lot of people even come out, at least not the first trailer. If you keep watching marketing scheme stuff on TV as the movie gets closer and closer to release, they start to reveal a lot on TV spots. But you just got to shut those out. Those are not hard to shut out, especially nowadays where not a lot of people are watching TV. They're just watching streaming. But this movie is the single worst case I have ever seen in the superhero genre of you released a trailer that single-handedly destroyed your movie. And I understand that may be like a lot and dramatic. I do not think it is. Because this whole marketing scheme was geared around one thing. What was it?
Red Hulk.
Red Hulk. It was, hey, we have Red Hulk. And I understand even if you don't show Red Hulk in the trailers, everybody knows, probably assumes he's going to show up because if you're a fan at all, you know who Thunderbolt Ross is. And he's obviously a huge part to this movie. So I'm not saying you could have hidden it, but
I promise you, bro, without marketing Red Hulk, I would give you 43% of people would have no idea Red Hulk was in the movie.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you.
I think majority would be like,
I think it would grossly change the opinion of this movie as well.
Keep going.
But to have your whole marketing scheme fleshed out and geared towards, guys, it's heading towards Red Hulk versus Captain America. And even I said to you guys going in, I was like, well, he's not like we know the actual villain is like this other guy from the Incredible Hulk movies. For that to be your whole marketing scheme, though, and then literally only give him to us in the last 15 minutes of the film.
That's bad.
It was not a good idea. And that shows me, at least, I take that as you didn't believe in this movie. You just didn't. Because it looked like you just half-assed everything. The marketing scheme, at least from my point of view, the plot, the ending of the movie, just like it. Like we know Sam can't stand up to the Red Hulk. But if I don't know Red Hulk is definitively in this movie, and I even told you guys afterwards, even if we saw like maybe just a hand in the trailer, which I believe the very first trailer that got released was.
The hand.
But then after that, like, I mean, every single TV spot, every single trailer, every single thing I saw online was about Red Hulk. And that scene at the end where he bursts out from behind the podium. And for that to be your thing, like, that just, and a lot of the shots of the Tiamat scene are in the trailers as well. That was your two biggest action sequences. You didn't have, I don't, like, the whole plot of him going and getting the adamantium with all the guards. Cool. We didn't see a lot of that. We didn't need to because it was so brief. It wasn't an important scene. The whole thing where they're going down into the cellar to meet the leader, I think his villain name is. We don't get any of that in the trailers. And like, but at the same time, I didn't feel like that was even important, but that was supposed to be that was supposed to be your Winter Soldier bunker moment. And it didn't hit. Like, it didn't. And even his performance didn't hit. But dude, this is the single worst way I've ever seen a marketing scheme completely ruin a plot of a movie. And I will say, this movie got me thinking from now on. I'm not going to go full board into your adoption scheme of not watching any trailers. But I will say from now on, I'm considering only watching the first trailer and that's it. And if that burns me, that's okay. Because I don't think it's going to be a Brave New World situation every single time. But
It's a better life.
I am probably only really going to go, especially for a lot of these products that I really know a lot of. Because I see a lot of these rumors online all the time, unfortunately. It's just like my feed. I just don't know if I want to be, because that severely hurt the movie for me. It really did. Like, it brought it down 2 ticks almost. And then the fact that the movie's not even really that good also didn't help.
Yeah.
So, because it's one thing where, like, the marketing ruins it, but, like, it's just such a good movie you don't care. This had neither one of those things.
Yeah.
So, it's just, I don't know, man. This was just, like, I'm not taking it as severe as a ding as other people are, because I've heard some, like, talk and debate around that. I will say, though, I did feel a little bit like this was Marvel kind of just, like, slapping me in the face a little bit. In the terms of, you knew I was going to come out and pay money to see this. And you didn't really treat me with respect by giving me this product.
Yeah.
Which that kind of sucks. That's like my biggest hurt from watching this movie is that single-handedly.
Yeah, I think there's a lot circling this movie that we don't know about because, like, I don't know why they spent. I mean, you doubled your budget in reshoots and all this stuff. Like, so it's like
It's a $180 budget.
there's
$180
just
million
this
budget.
this movie was a train wreck to begin with. But hear me out in my pitch.
Yeah. I want to get your pitch.
I'm gonna keep the movie the same.
Okay.
Right? The movie, the product, what it is gonna be pretty much the same. Change a few things. One, I'm gonna recast, because it was the same actor that played Homeboy from Incredible Hulk.
Yes. Yeah.
And he is the leader.
Yeah.
That is his comic book character name. I didn't know he was supposed to be the leader until I saw something online after.
Gotcha.
And it's like, I know who the leader is
He
in the
looks
comics.
very different in the movie.
Very different in the comics.
I didn't think we were getting that. I thought we were going to get it more comic accurate.
And so if I would have seen a little bit more comic accurate, I would have been like, oh, that's him. That's blank. So the only thing I'm going to change is I'm going to recast him because he's a terrible actor.
Really? See, I don't think he's a terrible actor.
His acting was terrible in this movie. And I'm going to also change how his character design in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to make him look a little bit more comic accurate.
Yeah.
He looked like they just like slapped a little bit of green paint, a little dirty green paint on him.
And some practical effects on him.
And put some practical like ringworm effect on his head. Like it looks really bad. So I'm gonna fix up how he looks, and I'm probably gonna recast him.
Yeah.
But other than that, movie's gonna be the same. Marketing, the big thing we're gonna change is I'm not gonna show Red Hulk at all.
Yeah. Good.
I'm only gonna take clips and scenes and little tidbits from these specific scenes. The opening scene, the bunker scene, and I'm gonna take a little bit from the Tiamat fight, but you're not gonna see Tiamat at all. You're only gonna see shots of Falcon flying around.
Okay.
Maybe you see the jet wing cut, but you don't know the context of what is going on there.
Yeah.
And then maybe a couple like conversation tidbits that you throw in the trailer as well, of like conversations, but nothing like maybe between Sam and Thunderbolt Ross.
Gotcha.
Other than that, Red Hulk is like a complete
No, I
complete
agree.
secret.
Completely agree with that.
And it's like, if you take that movie with the marketing of, just, a few action scenes or whatever, but it has, you see maybe you get like, how like in the bunker scene when like I forget his name, I think it's like Simon or something. But the leader, when he's like standing, he's like the shadowy. Maybe in that, like, you get like a little glimpse of like the green
eyes,
the
or
green
anything
eyes,
like that,
or
yeah.
like maybe
I thought that
his
was done really well,
head.
like slow building the reveal of him and showing just the green eyes.
Yeah.
Because that would go well in a trailer.
In a trailer,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, oh, like this is the villain. Even if the reaction was, nah, this villain doesn't look like anything, let that be the reaction.
Yeah.
Let the fans have that reaction towards the leader when you've got a heavy hitter that's gonna surprise everybody,
Literally.
right? And it's like, even though people would like know that, oh, there's probably Red Hulk is gonna come, even if like him taking the pills, people pick up on that and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, he's gonna turn into
For
him.
sure.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You don't know that for sure. So like,
Yeah.
there's gonna be, even though you feel like this is gonna happen, there's a little thing in your head that's
Yeah.
like, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Instead of me going into a movie where it's like, so like, when is Red Hulk gonna?
Dude. Yeah.
So like,
It's like an hour and 15 in till we got him.
you conclude that they literally concluded the movie.
Yeah, with Red Hulk.
And no, they concluded the movie.
Oh, and
Right,
then
where
threw
they capture the leader. The movie's over. Freaking Sam's got his jacket in his hand. He's like, "All
we
the
got
day's
you.
work.
We got you.
All this is Captain America, baby. I saved the day."
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Oh yeah, oh frick,
We forgot.
Red Hulk. We forgot.
We
Frick.
forgot.
Throw him in.
Yeah.
Like we need to have that fight scene."
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it was. I don't think Marvel believed in the movie
No.
at all. I think that's a great way to put it. It sucks because like I think the plot had potential. I love the Thunderbolt Ross like becoming president, and he's like a wild card. So it's like he's trying to get this treaty, he's trying to be a good president, but then when things go wrong, like I was a wartime general, I can be a wartime president. Then he like flips a switch. So it's like, if you take the spin of like, we don't know he's Red Hulk, but he, even if we, in the background, he's always been dealing, like the whole plot of like, he's been using the leader, for a long time to, calculate advantages in war, to get to the presidency.
Yeah.
Still use that because I think that's good, because it just means like Thunderbolt was just like in over his head.
I liked that element of the
He
plot.
bit off more than he could chew. And then, but ultimately, like, he was actually being the one that was manipulated. And then it turns him into Red Hulk. I also think I hated that, like, to defeat Red Hulk, we had the sun's coming up kind of moment where it's just like,
Betty,
calm down. You need to calm down. I just like
that whole scene looked fake too.
It's just underwhelming.
It looked like a bunch of dudes standing on the volume the whole time.
It
which
just
sucked.
I just want him to like at least like beat him.
Yeah.
Let's like beat Hulk.
Yeah.
And then like, because like when you beat
kind of
Hulk,
he did the stabby thing and explodey thing on him.
no, but he was still Hulk. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, 'cause if you beat Hulk bad enough, he will turn back into the human
I just
form.
don't know if that's even realistic to expect from a character like Sam.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Or if like the little stab kinetic explosion that did it.
Yeah.
Maybe that was I was like jarred
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
when that happened.
Well, we need to use that more often.
He nuked the island.
Yeah.
That island was dying. It was destroyed.
He did.
If they would have moved the rubble and he was back to Harrison Ford,
Yeah.
I'd have been at least been like, sure. I mean, he freaking hit him like he hit him with like a nuke, dude. That was like, that's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just
There's a lot wrong.
It's just a disappointing experience. It really was. And I want to sit here and go through like critical elements, but like I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. There's a lot of critically things that I just thought were kind of piss poor with this movie. But I will say the biggest thing that we kept saying to each other throughout this entire film, and we said it again like 4 or 5 times at the end of it, was like, no, he needs the serum. Like, let's get him juiced. Because if you want me as an audience member to believe that Sam has any sort of chance in these battles, I understand we've seen him do it time and time again as Falcon. It's just different when he's Captain America. And I even said this afterwards, like, I think what a way more interesting like plot would have been throughout the entire thing is the fact that like people are trying to get Sam to actually take the serum and he won't do it because of his ideals that he talks about with Bucky at the end, and what Bucky reaffirms of is like, no, but you're Sam, like you're a human, and that's what makes you you. It's not about like the serum. I think that's a way more interesting plot line than the stuff we got, but we didn't see. They made like 2 references about the serum. That was it. And every time he was fighting, you were like, no, he needs the serum. Like, somebody get him the serum. And then when Bucky and him are having that conversation, I just kept hearing you utter, no, you're completely wrong.
There's
no,
2
get
times
him. No,
in this
get it
movie.
to him. Get it to
There's
him.
2 times in this movie that Sam Wilson was egregiously lied to
Yeah.
his face.
Yeah.
When Bucky said, you don't need the serum,
Mm-hmm.
lie.
Mm-hmm.
And when the new Falcon, I think his name Joaquin Torres,
Yes.
I think his
yeah,
name,
yeah.
when he was on the hospital bed and said, when I was little, I wanted to grow up to be like you.
Mhm.
Straight up lied to his face.
I
Straight up lied to
do
his
not
face.
believe you, Joaquin. I'm sorry.
Do not believe
And I
you
actually,
at
his
all.
character was actually okay. I liked his character.
Now, everybody hate. I like this character.
Yeah, it's weird.
I rocked with his
I'm
character.
I've heard different things, but I've heard more hate towards his portrayal than likes.
He gave like a fun, youthful,
yeah.
new to the hero scene. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, you got to think like Sam, although he's new to Captain America, he's been a hero, been an Avenger for how long now?
Dude, he's been
MCU
playing his
timeline?
character almost 12 years now. Avenger-wise, he's probably only been it for, well, they had that time jump too, so he's probably been about a decade he's been Falcon.
So it's like, so he's not new to the hero business, just new in a new position. This guy's new to being a hero. He's new to being Falcon. So he's got this youthful energy that I thought was fun.
Yeah, and he's always trying things that he shouldn't be trying yet, and he's like, how do you do this? Like, how'd you do that?
I liked him a lot.
I liked him. Yeah, the only critique that I heard about him that I did agree with, and this wasn't even his fault, this was the way it was written, was the dialogue in which he had with in the boxing match scene. Because if you didn't watch Cap and Winter Soldier, you don't know who the hell that Avery Bradley is. Like, you just don't, because he's from that show.
Yeah,
And
they
so-
kind of
Well,
say it, though.
that's my point. Is a lot of the critical things that I've heard about Joaquin that I agree with is that, like, you gave him all the dialogue to give you the exposition of like this character, which is exactly what I told you I don't like seeing when we started watching Spider-Man, which is just like, this is part of the element of the TV shows that hasn't worked for Marvel, is that like there's characters in these Marvel series that show up in movies and they expect you to know it, but because they know not all the audience watched it, they give some dialogue in there to just quickly like give you some exposition, but it just never comes across very well. And it was just kind of like it was just a little bit like, I know why you're doing this, and it doesn't really feel natural to like the flow of the movie type stuff. That was the only one I agree with on Joaquin's thing. And that wasn't, again, not even his fault. That was more a writing issue than it was him. Unfortunately, they just gave him the lines of all the exposition. Like, anytime something needed to be explained, he was the guy and the guy in the chair, like, explaining it. That didn't do his character a service, because he was much funnier in all the other scenes that he was in. But I liked him. I thought he was good. We'll probably see more of him, I imagine.
Yeah, the action was good. The suit was cool. The little upgrades. I'm still getting used to Captain America with wings.
Yeah, interesting.
It's different.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
It doesn't really jar me that much, surprisingly.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really feel that much like different about it. I'm like, yeah, so it's Falcon, but it's Cap.
It's just like, when Cap's getting busy, it's just him and the shield.
For sure.
But now he's using the wings to like.
They try to do a little bit of that and mix in the Sam elements in that opening scene.
Yeah, which listen, I'm not saying I hate it. Just had to get used to it.
Yeah.
But I loved with the like still getting used to Cap having wings. That being said, a major advantage to having the wings is I loved all the aerial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I loved like the
Him
Tiamat
flying will
stuff.
always be cool.
The flying stuff was cool. The way he was maneuvering, like, and then when he was like disarming the missile and Red Wing like took the shield, it was like blocking the bullets.
Red Wing was cool.
Red Wing.
The whole grabbing the shield thing, that was like, that's a
That was
fun thing
cool.
to like, how do we mix in how Falcon is now Captain America? That's a cool way of doing it.
cool little creative things that they did, like the way he fights and stuff like that. I thought it was all done well. I feel like we dragged out the Tiamat fights. Like I think he could have took out those 2 jets in like 10 seconds.
I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
F-16s are Those are different beasts.
Yeah, but he was breaking the sound barrier.
That I didn't understand. I really didn't.
He landed
Yeah,
and said, wait for it,
yeah.
because the force that I'm hitting the ground with is still catching up to me. Okay? And so, like, that's how fast he is, apparently. So you're telling me he can't catch a jet. I think
Those
he
things can also break the sound barrier.
Yes, but he like caught up to the jet 4 different times.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he just had to go get the missiles.
Yeah, it was
Kept-
also because the
kept shooting missiles.
and not
They're
only
like,
that,
"Frick."
where the other fighder jets were also attacking him while he was trying to defer that. I
Listen,
got all that.
probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, though.
I did know that was legitimately my favorite action
because
stuff
it was
in the
like
entire movie.
it was just really, really cool. So I
They
don't
didn't
know.
dive they didn't really dive into any of the adamantium Tiamat stuff, which I thought this movie was gonna really be grounded around, and they did try to center it around that plot point, but like it didn't feel like it was even important ultimately in the film.
Now,
It
hear me
was
out.
such a throwaway.
Hear me out on this. I had this thought. I haven't heard this from anybody else. So
Mhm.
this, sometimes I'll preface what I'm about to say with this isn't aligning, but this is.
Okay.
So oftentimes Marvel, in their storytelling, in the social climate of like what they're telling about, reflects like the real world. It can. Like the timing of Falcon and Winter Soldier, the show. What that was really kind of geared towards,
Yeah.
and the political ideologies that show brought about and whatnot. I think it's interesting that at this time in our real world, they dropped this movie where Thunderbolt Ross
Yes.
is a president.
Yeah.
And like we know where Disney stands in the political atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that atmosphere is viewing towards our current president, that they would then,
Yeah.
just all of a sudden have this
You get
movie.
to see the lens that they see it through.
So yeah, like they basically what I'm saying is Disney thinks Donald Trump is Thunderbolt Ross, and that he is going to become Red Hulk at any moment.
Honestly, yeah, that's a good little picture.
And it's
The
just
Red
like,
Hulk part more than the Thunderbolt Ross part.
and it's just like it's interesting. And what brought about that is like not
That was a happy coincidence for them.
sure.
They didn't know
Sure.
they didn't know Trump was going to be president.
Sure.
I'm sure in their minds they thought it wasn't going to be.
Sure.
What do you mean, sure?
Sure.
This movie has long been in development, way before the campaigns kicked
Yeah.
off.
Sure. But
Conspiracy
no,
theorist Joe over here.
No, because it was reshot 2 weeks ago.
Put your
so
conspiracy theorist hat on.
I need
Honestly,
to get one.
fair. They did
You
do a
need to
lot of
give me one.
CGI stuff. They didn't though.
But the whole idea that like, like when Thunderbolt's treaty was falling through, then he was just like, you know what? Fine. Like,
Fuck
it's going
it.
to fall through. Fuck it. If someone's going to get adamantium, it's going to be freaking us. And it's just like,
Yeah,
I
get what you're saying with that.
I can
yeah.
see like them seeing like that's how Trump
Yes.
would handle the situation.
Yeah,
It's like, hey, let's try
while
this
they're writing,
peacefully.
like, how do we want to portray Trump in this light right here?
They're like, yeah, like let's try and go this peaceful route. But if it doesn't, we're gonna freaking win. And we're gonna stop.
For
And it's
sure.
like because like Thunderbolt had such a like drastic like
Yes.
change
Yeah.
in like one moment
Yeah.
where he was like, they're like, yeah, the treaty's not gonna happen. He's asked, well, then we're gonna win.
Yep.
It's like,
then it's
whoa.
ours. No, I agree.
I thought that was funny.
It's not the first time Disney would be doing this, or any shows would be doing
I'm
this.
not saying they were
Typically, we see it more from shows like The Boys, who are evidently trying to do
yes.
it.
I'm not
What?
saying that's what Disney was doing, but it's just
You're not saying it, but you are.
sure. Yeah.
All right. Before we get into ranking this movie, any final thoughts before we?
What did I rank Wakanda Forever?
Oh man, we'd have to go back in time to really look at that one. We haven't officially. I don't know if we've officially like ranked that one in our system right
I
now.
think that was like a 3.
So what are you giving this one? If Wakanda Forever is a 3,
What is Wakanda Forever? Let me actually like because these I think these are in the same
and
boat.
again, if you're listening for the first time, he's definitely in the minority on the Wakanda Forever thing.
I'm not. You
pretty
guys just
heavily.
don't want to admit it. I'm waiting for you to show me there's a majority of people that love that movie.
Oh no, I'm not saying they love it. I just don't think people hate it as much as you do.
What's the same thing? You
No,
can,
it's
you can,
not.
Yeah, you can hate it a little bit. I
Feeling
just
met
hate
about
it.
a movie versus passionately thinking that it's one of the worst Marvel films is two very different things.
That I'm not saying I'm in in the boat with the meh people.
I know.
There's a lot of people that don't like the
No.
movie. They don't
Yeah.
like the movie. I'm also in the don't like you
No.
boat. I'm just a little bit further in the back of the boat.
You're misunderstanding me. I'm saying I agree. There is a don't like it boat, and then there's a meh boat. I think the majority of the people are in the meh boat. I think you're in a
I
third
disagree.
boat way back here that is I passionately hate this movie.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, I do hate the movie. I think it's awful, and I hate people trying to tell me that it's good. I just will never understand it. I think this movie is like in that realm though, and I'm not saying I passionately hate this movie. I'm
Mhm.
just saying this movie is also like just bad.
Yeah.
I think the reason a lot of the hate from Wakanda Forever is people tell me it's like it's not bad,
Yeah.
and I think it makes me hate it more.
Fair. That's fair.
But this movie is just like similar in how bad it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just people aren't trying to convince me that it's good,
Fair.
and so we're just like, yeah, it's just bad.
Very fair.
Are we ranking the movie right now?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'd give. Wakanda's probably like a 4, a 4.2.
You feel so passionately also about giving decimal points when you don't have to. You could just say it's a 4.
I could,
Gotta add that point too.
but it's like, yeah, it's a 4.2. So this movie's probably like yeesh, a 4.8.
A 4.8.
Yep.
Gotcha. As you know, I'm not as big on the decimal points as you are. I was gonna give this movie a 4. I think it's just there's nothing really good about it that bumps it up to even average for me. And I remember feeling when the credits rolled, like honestly, a lot of what I felt with Eternals. It was just a lot of meh.
I will stand on the boat.
No,
Eternals is good.
I'm not saying Eternals is still in that boat. I'm just saying that was what I felt immediately following watching Eternals the first time.
Really? Because Eternals.
We both did, bro. We both looked at each other in the theater and we went, "That was the most 5 movie I've ever seen."
Yeah, but we didn't think that with this movie. We were like,
No, I know.
That's what I'm saying. That you can't compare it because like we walked out of this, we're like, there was
No,
glaringly bad things. About
I
this
agree,
movie.
but legitimately, like when the credits roll, I'm saying my first immediate reaction was that was just like meh. Maybe I was trying to be a little bit more forgiving of it. I can agree with that. But no, this movie's just not good. Like it's not, and I'm not ever gonna watch it.
I'm
again.
okay. I think I'm okay with. Again, I opened up the episode saying all the negative stuff, but again, I also did say I was not defending the movie. I think the movie's bad, but I think the movie's bad because Marvel gave up on it. Not that it was. I mean, it was bad.
and that's where we disagree a little bit.
And I think the movie was bad, but I agree. Like, I think Marvel gave up on it,
Yeah.
and that's why it's this bad. If they like just committed to the original idea they had, again, I don't know why they reshot. I don't know why they kicked Seth Rollins off and brought in Giancarlo, but if they just gave us the original product, I don't think it would have been as bad as this is.
Gotcha. Okay.
But you're at a 4.
I just kind of I think there's a lot more. Like I think the plot's a big thing. I think Marvel giving up on it is a big thing. I think there's just a lot to this movie that you can really dissect and get in the weeds on and just see why it's not a bad movie. I know you don't like to do that as much. I like to do it a little bit because I like to get more into the critical territory of breaking down like film and TV. But I will say,
You're saying as if I don't.
I think you just put less emphasis on it. I'm saying I think you put your. When I say that, I'm meaning more towards like things like writing and dialogue and expository dialogue and how they shoot a certain thing. Like I know fight choreography is something we didn't even really talk about. I thought it was piss poor in this movie. Like I did not think it was great. Especially compared to the past Cap scenes that we've seen. So things like that, I think I dig and put more emphasis on.
All
Not
of that
dig
I take into
into.
account.
Not dig into, put more emphasis on. I just think you put less emphasis on it. I think you are more on the boat of if I can enjoy this movie and have fun with this movie, that's a bigger piece of the pie for me than the critical errors that might come along with the film. Versus for me, like if the critical errors are enough, like there's got to be enough in it to overcome it, and there just was not in this movie, so that's where they become a lot more glaringly obvious to me. I will say I was checking it while we were talking. The Tomatoes score for this, it appears one of like the worst ones to ever premiere for a Marvel film. It was like 48. It's up to like 50 right now. The audience score is actually at 78 right now.
Oh,
So, which kind of surprises me because I have definitely heard more negative than I've heard positive. But I have heard the few people who are like, I really liked this film. I
that's true. I
Can't really understand why, but I have now, and not even the guy we were talking about the other day. I've seen like multiple people now like come out and
But
say
I will
that.
say the people that you listen to are critics.
No, I'm talking about separate from that. I'm talking about just like on Twitter, on TikTok, and other platforms. There is like a small sect of fans for this movie that are like,
Well, 70%
this was
is not
awesome.
small.
This was, well, clearly, yeah, it's more than I anticipated it to be. But I agree. Like a lot of people I listen to more critically, especially like there's some podcasts and breakdowns I listen to are like actual like film nerds way beyond we probably will ever be. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just this is a 4 movie to me. I probably could go lower as time goes on if I ever watch this movie again, but I don't really want to watch this movie again. I'm okay with never seeing this again. Like you said, it's a filler, and I don't care to revisit it.
Yeah.
Like even when Secret Wars and Doomsday comes out, I won't be watching this movie. So
I'm worried. I'm worried with this movie because I don't believe, as of right now, I don't
Mhm.
believe Cap. I don't believe Sam can
Yeah.
can lead the
It's pretty tough.
Avengers. Like I'm very concerned.
yeah.
I just don't.
Before
don't know
we
what
head
to
out,
do.
I actually did want to bring up something towards that topic. Was Spider-Man? I feel like they made a gross miscalculation by saying they wanted to go. Sam was the leader and building the team. I understand all the messes going on with the memory stuff with Spider-Man. I feel like he should have been more the center point for this. He could have been our new Iron Man rather than Sam.
Yeah, which is confusing because Iron Man built the Avengers, but Cap led them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not.
It's like kind of like a Batman Superman thing. It's like they are both kind of the leaders. But I
Yeah.
agree. I agree with what you said. Like Cap really did lead them. Like
But I also couldn't see Spider-Man going to recruit everybody.
I agree with
A
the
part of me could
I could
because
because that could be a cool way to portray just how intelligent he is. Because we've still really yet to see that.
He's so smart.
Like we've seen it a little. This show we're watching, it's in a lot.
Yeah,
And
it's not really
the live action
brain-
less.
Doesn't really need brains to bring them together. He just like to go and like meet with
Kind of
all
like
of
the
them.
charisma and stuff like that. Like
He does
like
have the
Tony, like
charisma.
Tony had. That's what I'm saying. Like he's
Yeah.
got all the rest. Like he's got the Spider-Man's got the charisma. He's
Like
got
Sam
the
just
smarts.
has the title. I'm
Yes.
Captain America and I'm
Yes.
recruiting you.
But I feel like
And he's already recruited
Yeah.
Falcon, which I think is like we're off to a really rough start.
yeah, it's just a
If we have
drastic
just
turn.
right now, the Avengers are 2 humans.
Mm-hmm.
That is our team right now.
Well, we got Shang-Chi.
No, that is recruited on the team right now. We have
Shang-Chi technically was at the end of Shang-Chi.
no.
They were, like,
This
recruited in-
movie was just established that the Avengers are coming back.
Sure,
Sam,
like
as of right now, Sam is only physically invited Falcon.
I'm saying in terms of like the people we know are already in the organization and helping with some form of government, whether that be already together or with the U.S. or with whatever it is. There is sects like that we've seen, like we saw with Shang-Chi and with Wong and with Captain Marvel at the end of that scene. Doctor Strange is kind of doing his own thing. He's going to be there. I get what you're saying with like the physical invitation. I'm just saying like it's not going to be that big of a reach to say like the first people probably on the team without even really a physical invitation. Like let's go get the people who are already kind of working with us, and they'll be the first kind of invitees into this new Avengers team.
Okay, that's just not what I'm saying.
Even Shuri.
What I was saying was
If you're gonna go
Right
off
now-
like he didn't deliver it mail, say hey I need you on the Avengers. Sure.
I'm making a joke. I'm making a statement that as of right now, he has only invited Falcon, and I'm just saying that as of right now, the Avengers are Sam and Falcon.
Okay. Sure.
That is the only 2 people that are on the Avengers right now.
Sure.
Now, are they going to go get all those people? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a dope team. But right now, our team is 2 humans.
Yeah.
That is not a good.
It's technically still going to be a lot of humans. I mean, we got some superpowered humans, but it's going to be a lot of just like really base level. Like Shang-Chi is now powerful because of the rings, but he is a martial artist. Shuri is kind of a souped up. I guess she took the Black Panther stuff in that movie, right? So Doctor Strange
don't
a
remember
little
'cause the
bit.
movie sucks.
I don't really remember too much. The biggest thing I remember of that movie is Namor because I just really likes Namor. So hopefully Namor. But Fantastic Four's coming, so hopefully that turns things around for us. But yeah, we got 2 more movies coming up for the Marvel before Phase 5 is officially done. Actually, technically speaking, Thunderbolts I think is the last Phase 5 movie.
Is it?
And so Fantastic Four, I believe, brings in the next one with the next 2 Avengers movies. We need a
Don't
change.
the Avengers movies end the phase?
No, I could have heard incorrectly, but I think Thunderbolts ends Phase 5. Phase 6 is technically that, I believe. Is going to be Fantastic Four. I think there's one more project after Fantastic Four coming out before Secret Wars. I could be wrong about. No, there's not.
Ironheart concludes Phase 5
Ironheart is concluding. When does that come out?
this year.
When? Because like if it's after July, then Fantastic Four is also part of Phase 5. But I don't know when. I know Thunderbolts comes out in May, so I'm still excited for Thunderbolts. But
June
yeah,
24th.
June, so it actually comes out before. So yeah, so Ironheart. So Phase 6 begins with Fantastic Four.
And that's the Mutant Saga?
I guess we don't really know if there's an official name to it yet.
I guess.
I think they're waiting for the Mutant Saga till after this. I think it's still
after
technically the
Avengers.
Multiverse
I think
Saga
it's still multiverse.
Until Secret Wars comes to pass.
It's just Phase 6 might be a little shorter.
It's gonna be super short. I think it's
Because
literally
it's
just the 2 Avengers
just
movies and
Avengers
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm still super pumped for Thunderbolts. I don't know how this shakes my faith in it. I think they have a little bit more faith in Thunderbolts than they do this movie, but I also do know they're still trying to wrap this up. They're trying to get to Secret Wars as fast as possible. And hopefully Fantastic Four looks excellent. We talked about that in our other episode. Go check it out. But yeah, dude, I don't know, man. It's just disappointing that we got this. It really is.
Yeah. To all the people that have your mindset of shaking, relax. We're fine. It's
been phase.
It's a filler.
You say we're fine, but Phase 5 has been a lot of like shaky. It's been a lot of shaky.
It's been bad, but it's just like
how many more shakies can we put up with before it's like maybe this isn't fine?
how many movies is it gonna take for you to stop watching Marvel?
Unfortunately for me,
How many?
that's never
Not
gonna
gonna-
happen.
Then you're fine.
But they are gonna get to a point where they do revert to just this subsect of fans, which there's a good amount of us. But I've even heard like fans like us who are nerd heavy people and love this shit. Even they're starting to get turned off to this stuff, and it's like, what's the line before you start pushing everybody off the cliff and this doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah, it doesn't matter because one banger comes out and everybody's like, "We're back." So it doesn't matter.
Maybe.
It literally does not matter because if Fantastic Four hits, everybody's brains are gonna reset, and then you're gonna take 8 more bad movies, and then you're gonna be like, "Oh, we're gonna be off the train." Then Avengers is gonna hit.
I think they need I think they need Fantastic Four, Doomsday, and Secret Wars to hit. Otherwise, this is in serious jeopardy of slowly just declining till we don't have anything. Because they got all of X-Men. X-Men's gonna they're gonna get fans in seats for X-Men. But
I agree.
After that, where do you go after X-Men if all this fails?
We need to land. The plane needs to land. It needs to do it well. I'm scared of already the Avengers because everybody's gonna put the pressures of Infinity War and Endgame on these movies.
Dude, it's gonna suck, bro.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, bro. It's like you're they're already lost.
Yeah,
they already lost.
And you can tell Marvel is also on their heels because they're like, Robert Downey Jr. back.
Yeah,
Chris Evans back,
which is gonna help, but maybe it's gonna help with people thinking the movie's better than it is because they're just gonna see the faces of people they remember.
Yeah.
But this movie already is gonna have the pressures of 2 of the greatest movies in the history of superhero movies.
Yeah,
and it's just like already it's gonna be a failure in people's eyes. So it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. I just hope that I enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree.
At the end of the day, that's all I really
sure.
care about.
Fine. Yeah. All right, that's gonna do it for us here at the house. Wish we had more of a upbeat attitude like we did discussing the last 2 TV shows, but that's okay because Thunderbolt's coming out. If you like our nerd stuff, we go check out the Invincible pod we did. It's along with Friendly Spider-Man. We're gonna be dropping those weekly till those shows are done and concluded, leading up to Thunderbolts. But till next time, we will catch y'all. Thanks for hanging around the house. Peace.